Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the world heavyweight champion.
Gotta be the best of me. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
That was pretty hard. And look at Buddy going to work now. Oh.
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling, Billy Corgan's NWA. We are here for, I'm not going to say the big one, but it's definitely going to be our last show of the year in game and going into January. We'll be playing Into the Fire here for our sort of finale. Not even a finale. I don't know why I'm saying it's finale. It's not even a big show. But it is coming only in 2 days. And we got a lot of storylines to wrap up in it. Some storylines carrying on over. Some new storylines beginning there. Should be pretty interesting. I think after that, we're going to probably go into a monthly program with monthly pay-per-views. Financially, it makes more sense. And then we're going to dip power into 1 hour. And then we're probably going to do some kind of maybe a live stream or something. So keep a look at that. If you're not on the Discord, that will be probably the best place to find out when I decide to do it. Might not be a lot of lead time on that, because I like to just kind of jump in and jump out. So certainly you'll be notified on there when that happens. But we'll probably do that right after this at some point. Maybe this week even. Could be fun. So join the Discord if you are not already part of it to get notified. Also be notified, obviously, if you subscribe to the channel and press that little notification button, you'll be notified immediately as the live stream goes live. So certainly if you're not subscribed already or have that notification bell on, go ahead and press it. I guess. I don't know. I'm not the boss of you. You can do whatever you want, I guess. Anyways, let's go on and get on with the show and see what Into the Fire holds for us. All right, let's set up our broadcaster, which is still Fight TV. Give us a good amount of minimum quality here, which is nice. And we get 50% of that revenue, which is also really nice. One of the reasons why I kind of want to do a pay-per-view every month, I think it's worth it just for the pay-per-view buys. I think there's money on the table that we're missing there. In terms of location, let's see what we're going to... Ooh, we're going to have 1,800 fans here. That's actually really good. Pick best option. Metroplex Live. What's Metroplex looking like here? Okay, yeah. So that would sell us out. Cost is about $1,000. Not too bad. And, you know, we would have some people on the table, but that's fine. I forget how these work, the locations, but because I think you could select this and it'll, you know, I don't know. We'll just pick the best option for now. I was never very clear on how the locations work versus venues. It seemed weird to me. I don't know. If someone knows the specifics on that, let me know. But I know I think the location just allows you to like find anything within that location. And it'll, you know, it'll find a generic location for you, but that fits perfectly for what you want. But I don't know what the downsides are, so I will absolutely just pick the Metroplex and go with it. It's fine. I'm not that concerned about it. Now, do we have anything? We do have a backstage incident. Ricky Morton and Josh Woods, again, protege work wasted on Josh Woods. Absent workers, not an issue for us. Was actually a little worried going into this that maybe we would have some conflicts with AAA because I do want to have a Pentagon match tonight, but it seems like we are okay. Or at least it seems like we're okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's book the show and see what Into the Fire has for us. We got, it's actually not that long. It's only a 2-hour show, so it's actually not that much different than our regular shows. Because it was a lesser pay-per-view. So we don't have a lot of time actually to to book this, but we do have that little 25% overage, so we can kind of wiggle around where we need to. But I guess we have to manage the time a little bit. So let's keep that in mind as we book it. All right. All right, guys, we're ready. Lean one, because we only had that 150 minutes, but I think we used up all of it plus a pre-show, which we didn't do any of our, was it Crockett Cup single shot? What is our tournament called? Circle Squared tournament. We did not use any of that, because we're going to be doing that during the pre-shows of Power, because we got 2 more matches before the next round, and I needed to get some people on the show for the pre-show. So you'll see a real random pre-show match to kind of just work the crowd and get them popped, and that's just to get some people on. We're still missing some people off the roster a little bit, but I'm not that concerned. We'll manage with it. But we got a pretty lean show at one. Well, not lean, but I think we used our time economically to get as much done as we could for this this pay-per-view here, and I think it came out pretty well. I don't know how it's going to score though, so that's the big question. But let's go ahead and let's take a look and see what we're looking at here. Remember, we got some big things on the card, one of which is going to be opening the show is our Battle Royal to determine the new general manager. So that's going to be kind of fun. We have our big match with Pillman Jr. and Eli Drake, and obviously we have the conclusion to our Big Rig Memorial Tournament, and Nick Aldis versus Pentagon in I believe it was a Texas death match is what we had stipulated previously. So kind of interesting. Let's see what we have on the card. So for a pre-show, not horrible. Jacob Fatu gets the win here. Colt Cabana, Josh Woods, Warhorse, Sheamus, and Austin Gunn in a real random elimination match. Or actually, this is just a random scramble. Sheamus heads over tails above everybody else. Unfortunately, he's leaving us, so it does not matter too much. But we give Fatu the win. I think Colt is technically still our Denny's Grand Slam champion. We should probably retire that title. We're probably going to retire a couple things in our next live stream, I think, because, obviously with that advertisement deal gone, there's no reason for the Denny's contract. So I think we're going to probably sunset that. We may sunset the Founders Championship as well, and just kind of go to more of a bare bones grassroots approach. It'll really depend on who our new GM is and what their vision is, I suppose. But Jacob Fatu in the pre-show gets a good dominant win, even though it doesn't really have a story. Though he was really off his game here, unfortunately. But it's still off his game at a 54 is not too bad. Gets us a 48, not too bad. We start the show off with the entrance for some of our Battle Royal members, and our special entrants that really get a pop here are Jeff Jarrett, Kane returning for the second time in NWA, Rockstar Spud, Gregory Helms, and Al Snow. Nice variety of people who have been general managers in the past or management in some capacity. And they all enter into the Battle Royal, taking the call into the NWA. So pretty good here. And gets us a 36. It's got the crowd hotter. It's not with how wildly divergent all this is, it's not that bad. And in the Battle Royal, we have a real random cluster of people. Some people took the challenge. Some people did not get a special treatment. James Storms is in the match. Kahagas is in the match. Kevin Kiley is in the match. And Ryback is also in the match, in addition to Danhausen, but they didn't get a special pop. They were unknown entrants, but not nearly as interesting, I suppose. They just would have scored it even lower, so I didn't bother. And it's a Battle Royal match. It's a 44. This whole thing's kind of poorly placed because the crowd was already hot. So that's unfortunate. It was a work the crowd match. Yeah, this is a weird cluster. In this Battle Royal, though, Jeff Jarrett wins the Battle Royal in 13 minutes and 53 seconds. Final four were Danhausen, Kane, and Ryback, with Danhausen being the final elimination. Kane got the most eliminations, of course. What a weird random one. So that means, of course, that Jeff Jarrett is now our NWA general manager. The return to the NWA in a weird way. Jeff Jarrett wins the honor, and Danhausen is obviously in ringside in a state of shock, thinking that he was going to be guaranteed to win that match for some reason. Jeff is given a microphone to speak to the crowd, and he does so. He says, hey, it's me, Double J. And it looks like I am the new general manager here. He says, my dad used to run a little part of the NWA a long while back. Well, so did I suppose. Well, I learned a lot of lessons from Papa J, and I'm going to apply them here. Because here we're going to look out for the fairness on our roster. In good decisions being made on screen and off of it. In opportunities being given to those that deserve them. That's why my first order of business is to give our tag teams an equal shot tonight. 3-way ladder match for the number one contendership. Let's see who the best tag in the NWA is. He does a 53, pretty solid. That's bodes well for us for the right pick here. That he has pretty consistent commentating skills. We're not going to get an amazing bump from him or anything like that, but I think it's going to. He's not going to fail us when we need him to be charismatic. So that's an important pick for us. I also picked Jeff Jarrett because he does have that lineage. Obviously, him and his dad ran TNA back when it was the NWA TNA. So there's a little bit of some NWA down south approach to it that kind of works nicely for us. After that, we got Matt Cross versus Ricky Starks. Had a decent reaction from the crowd, but did ultimately have subpar wrestling. Ricky Starks is just not there as a performer. I don't know whether he's undervalued. It's something we might want to look at. I find that I think most people in the wrestling community overvalue Ricky Starks, but it's certainly something that maybe we can look at in terms of performance, that maybe he's not in the right place in the save right now in the database. Might be something we look at in the live stream. But in the finals of the Big Ring Worlds Tournament, Ricky Starks does in fact defeat Matt Cross in 13 minutes. Both of them, I believe, are part members of the loose collection of misfits that Eddie Kingston has surrounded himself with, called the Kingdom. So it's kind of interesting that two Kingdom members kind of met down to the middle. Ricky Starks does defeat Matt Cross, though, gets him with a Buster Keaton, and advances, obviously, the storyline. Well, actually, technically concludes it, but, it's neither here nor there. We have the rise of Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks does win the tournament with a segment rating of 44. And obviously, at the end, Matt and Ricky, who had a bit of a conflict into that match, ultimately shake hands. There's no heat in the Kingdom, it seems, and Starks is presented with the Big Rig Trophy, winning his first real accolade in the NWA. And hopefully maybe sending him to bigger things, perhaps, might be an opportunity for him. Segment rating is a 36. It's fine. It doesn't do amazing, but again, kind of underperforming in terms of a lot of our ratings here for him, unfortunately. Next up, we got Pentagon Dark versus Nick Aldis in our Texas, not Texas death match, but what was this match? Yeah, it was a Texas death match. Nick Aldis versus Pentagon, basically first to 10, just beating each other up nonstop. It's only a 10-minute match, though. We had to kind of cut it a little short based on the time, but ended up working out okay, giving us a 54. Pentagon Dark loses in this match. Nick Aldis actually gets the win, and he's pinned with a Tormentum and could not beat that 10 count. Pentagon had a 68. Nick Aldis had a 53. Pentagon looked good out there. It wasn't like he was going to lose much from it, but the story needed Nick Aldis to win it, to move him back up to the main roster a little bit, and change the direction of the cult a little bit, I think, as well. Gets us a 54 ultimately. After the fact, we have Nick Aldis actually getting Pentagon into his own armbar, showing no fear, and almost breaking his arm. Does not ultimately, he doesn't have that skill, but he does hurt Pentagon and walks away confident, while Pentagon looks at him menacingly. Perhaps it's over. Right now we've ended that storyline, but Pentagon's path to kind of have the cult throw out the trash in NWA seems to have failed, or perhaps it didn't. Perhaps his goal ultimately was to find out if Nick Aldis was the challenger that he used to be. And it seems like it brought it out of him at least, and brings him back into some type of position here. So we get a 58. It's not too bad. Again, pretty strong segments actually that we're having early in the card. I think the upper card's going to be the one that suffers, unfortunately, but this was pretty good. We got our it should have been for the title. It's kind of odd that it didn't show up for it. I might have had it set wrong. But AR Fox, our Alliance champion, has a match with Miro for the title. But he cheats. He ends up slamming Miro with a foreign object when the ref isn't looking, and gets a quick win on him. Starting to get overconfident with his title. He's so confident in his abilities, he's just going to cheat to win kind of situation. He has a 66. Miro had a 64. Gets us a 69. Pretty solid. I think I might send Aldis to fight for the Alliance title at some point. Just as an interim, as we kind of have maybe a feud between Fox and Nick Aldis, and maybe we have Nick Aldis take the title from him and have a little bit of in the spotlight before we give it to a big name or something like that we can utilize. I don't know, just spitballing. But right now, Fox is not quite at the AEW yet, but is still our Alliance champion. So theoretically, once he's in the in AEW, we could still pull him out basically for free. So we could utilize him for as long as we want. And in this situation, we're still allowing him to be built up and defeating Miro here. Yeah, this match is, it's better than I thought it would be, actually. We did have it as a cooldown for an eye candy match, but it went way too long. Which, knowing that, I should have gave maybe Aldis and Pentagon a little bit more time. It's good wrestling, decent reaction. Kimberly defeats Thunder Rosa and makes defense number 4 of the women's title. I don't know what the end goal will be, who will usurp Kimberly, but right now we're trying to get a good amount of defenses for the women's title, keep that open challenge, rotate people maybe through the Alliance in to challenge her. Right now, we allow Thunder Rosa to have the opportunity. Thunder Rosa needs a lot more time to be built up. She also needs maybe a little bit of work in the database to make her more accurate to where she is in 2020 and 2021. Segment gets a 45. It's not too bad. After that, FTR show up. They don't have a match tonight because there was no number 1 contender. So instead, they sit at the announce booth and commentate to watch the other 3 tag teams fight for the opportunity to face them, and obviously dish a lot of dirt in the meantime. And obviously, those are only 3 tag teams that we have, which we're going to get more. Someone was asking in the Discord. I think we're going to make some tags out of members of our stables, which we haven't really done. Obviously, we have the Ascension as our Colt stable tag team, but we haven't really solidified who's our tag champions or contenders in Smoking Aces yet, or the Kingdom. So we kind of have to figure out who would fit well with that, and I think we're going to have to see who has chemistry in there. I think Breeze will probably be one of the two in the tag, and maybe we'll put Jarek or Ziggy Dice in there to kind of get some boost of momentum. Anyways, Ascension, Von Erich's War Machine in a ladder match. This has some risk here because it's not really the type of match that the NWA likes. It was a poor choice for this audience, so it did hurt us. It got us a 37, though honestly that was not probably too far off from what we were going to get. Hansen unfortunately sustained a damaged shoulder, and ultimately the Von Erichs defeat the two after they retrieved an item from the ladder. I'm shocked that the crowd couldn't get behind a ladder match, but I guess they're a little too sensitive to that type of stuff. Yeah, that sucks. After the fact, the Von Erichs and FTR have a pretty long brawl after winning. Still upset that the FTR basically stole their dad. Maybe we'll have a dad on the pole match at some point to conclude that. We'll have Kevin Von Erich strapped to a pole, hanging and dangling from from the side of the ring to be retrieved. But the Von Erichs fight, it gets pretty brutal to the point where they're using a ladder. They actually climb up the ladder, get FTR on the announce table, and I guess Ross or Marshall, whoever's a more high spotted, neither of them really are, but one of them does something stupid, basically swanton bombs them and dives off the ladder onto the announce table. Got the crowd hotter, kind of reclaimed some of that, the weaker elements of that last match, which is nice. We do advance a storyline between the two and gain heat for it, and it's 49, it's not too bad. And we got Smoking Aces versus the New Shield. This match is better than it has any right to be. Loser leaves town. Loser leaves the NWA. The Smoking Aces defeat New Shield as they should, and just bury them out back, dirt on top. No proper burial, no gravestone. Just bury the gimmick. New Shield. So New Shield get pinned. Curtis Axel actually gets pinned by Ace Austin. I wanted Ace Austin to basically pin the most popular guy on the roster, or on that stable. He gets him after a House of Cards. Ace Austin had 57. Actually, Ace Austin's the best performer of the whole bunch, which is promising, because he's definitely going to have a lot of potential for us in the future. Segment gets a 50. It's not too bad considering who we have, and what I mean is we have the New Shield. That's pretty good for such a trash fire of a stable. And unfortunately, that means for the New Shield that they have to leave, and Ace Austin grabs a microphone and tells them to pack their shit and get out. They exit humiliated and leave the NWA forever, never to return in any capacity. Forever buried, forever forgotten. Get out. Somehow John Silver did not do well with a script, without a script to follow. I didn't realize I had to script you for just being charismatic, but whatever, Silver. Segment gets a 35. This doesn't do great. In our main event, it does better. Could have been, I think, even better, but it's fine. It had great heat, good wrestling. Pillman Jr. versus Eli Drake. Eddie Kingston enters into the match in the middle, does cash in and vacates his Founders Championship to get into the match. He doesn't go to the end, he goes midway in, because he still wants a fighting chance here, even though he's pissed off he's not on the marquee. Pillman, though, defeats them after Pillman pins Eddie Kingston after a fast count because the referee gets injured. And in a last minute, wearing a ref shirt, Jeff Jarrett comes in as a special guest referee. And as Eddie Kingston gets pinned, gives him a fast count before he has a chance to pull up and get his shoulder up. Pillman makes defense number 2 of the title. And Eddie was technically the weak link here with a 49. Part of that has to do with the midway edition. Pillman took a stunt bump, got the crowd buzzing, gave us a 55. We end the show with Jeff Jarrett smugly raising Pillman's hand in the air to celebrate with him. And seems that Pillman has a new ally backstage. Shocking turn of events here as our new GM just straight screwed Eddie Kingston. But for why, we don't know. And we will actually turn. We actually suffer this a little bit with Pillman because we have had some turns a little too much, maybe. But Pillman Jr. does turn heel here, obviously embracing Jeff Jarrett's slimy ass moves. Overall, we get a 57, which is not too bad. It's about on par with what we've been getting for our shows. We can make a speech, and I think we will. Nobody has been upset in this match, which is good. So I think we will just give a little bit of a bump for some people. And there you go. I don't know how much it actually does for us, but we'll do it. Bouts. Oh, right. He was leaving. I don't know why we bothered giving him anything, but that's fine. We should have gave it to somebody else. I forgot that he was leaving us. Tessa leaves. Pillman does not like Austin Gunn. Miro does not like Marshall Von Erich. Our buy figures are about 4,000, which is not 4,500. Not bad. We need some time to heal for Fatu. No, we don't. He's gone. Hansen's injured. Keen's gone. Into the fire. There we go. We got that already. Ricky Starks got an MLW contract. I'm just curious. Or not Ricky Starks. Eddie King. Eli Drake. I'm curious to see if that is exclusive. No, I don't think it is. Eli Drake might be somebody we should probably look at locking down, but I'm also not that concerned if he leaves. If the price is right, I think it makes sense. Show was excellent, so that did well. So that was very good. I had to do something really stupid, by the way, so I'm going to share my sin because I think it was funny. I had hired Jeff Jarrett, but I realized that he was not actually set for occasional manager, which he should be, but I didn't notice that until the PM stage. Because in the AM, I should have been able to change it, I think. Because I think if I went into Worker and went to Jeff, should be able to set him for occasional manager, or she should be able to set for occasional wrestler, road agent, personality manager. Should be his thing. Because that's what he has done, like, even just recently. So I had to get really creative. So I made a Jeff Jarrett. So I was trying to figure out who the hell could be Jeff Jarrett. I was trying to find someone in the roster that could portray him. In my head, it's just a dude with a Jeff Jarrett rubber mask. It just looks like Jeff Jarrett. So I had to find somebody that worked, that we still had, that had about the same, not necessarily brawling skill, but popularity, just so it didn't piss off the other wrestlers too much. So I grabbed grab TJP because I thought in my head, he was suicide, so he's used to being unmasked. So I gave it to TJP here in my dark sin that I'm now confessing right now, for the little bit of time that he's in our roster before he leaves after having obviously lost in the Crockett Cup. So he did us a huge favor of wearing a rubber Jeff Jarrett mask for the match, so that we could have Jeff win the Battle Royal. So I guess Jeff was like under the ring, and then when he won, he just snuck back out to and they traded places so no one would know. No one had any suspicion that Jeff Jarrett was different. So that's my dark sin for this episode I wanted to share with you all, as I thought it was hilarious. So that was Into the Fire. Pretty good. We have no events scheduled for the future. That's because we need to set up some brand new stuff for the show. So after this airs, like I said, join the Discord, and we're probably going to set up a day where we're going to do a little live stream just to fix some of those things, set up some upcoming events. So if you're interested in naming the events, show up in the Discord. If you're interested in helping maybe correct some of those errors in the database, show up. And also, if you're interested in firing some people, we're probably going to let go of a bunch of people and see what we want for the roster. We might hire a few people too. It depends on what we want. So always fun to do. We don't get to do them often, but it's definitely a great opportunity to interact with the community while we do it. Anyways, that is it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time for another NWA episode.